Why no marriage? So you said you don't want to get married. Why don't we start with you? Why don't you want to get married?
For me, it's just the foundation of marriage is a religious one, and I'm not a particularly religious person. And as far as where religion or marriage applies today, it's pretty symbolic. It's a piece of paper and a trip to the courthouse, and I don't find it necessary. It may become necessary in life for taxes and healthcare and dealing with children and properties, but just foundationally, I don't think it's the most important thing. Real commitment comes from that relationship that you share with your partner, kids, communication, and what you've both decided is real. That piece of paper doesn't really do much, in my opinion.
What about prenup?
Prenups and hell.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of prenuptial agreements.
So you think
personally?
Okay, so what happens if somebody cheats and like somebody wants to go away? And he decided he want to leave you. He want to see you anymore. He's just going to leave you with 2 kids. And what are you going to have left?
Well, personally, I make money. So I'm going to have plenty of money to handle myself. And he makes plenty of money himself. And I realize that it's totally a situational thing. My situation permits that I don't need to be married. And I don't need a prenuptial agreement in order to support myself in life. So I'm not worried.
Sorry. You also don't necessarily need to like do the whole courthouse license thing to be married and have a ceremony and do your own thing on like, I understand the whole religious side too. And for me and my fiance, for example, we're not even sure if we're going to actually legally get married just because like the government honestly owns your marriage at that point. And it's just a lot of technical crap. I don't know. We may though, just because it does kind of help with taxes and a lot of other stuff. I don't know, but regardless though, that's why he and I already kind of feel like we're married, because the piece of paper doesn't necessarily matter either. But I do understand where you're coming from, because it is a lot of like, I don't know, the government has control, the courts have control of your marriage. They basically own it at that point, and it's not really what marriage is about. It's about a union of 2 people, really.
I 100% agree. The government involvement is very strange to me, but also I do think the institution of marriage does allow you to safeguard yourself, say if you need a prenup, and that's important for some women. So yeah.
You want to get married?
Yes.
What if your husband, or your future husband, says, hey, I want a prenup?
No problem.
Oh, you're fine with it?
Yeah.
Oh, you're fine. Okay. All right. Because there's definitely some women who, if the topic of a prenup is broached, they're going to be like, oh, you don't think it's going to last?
No, I think there's no guarantees in life. So I think it's more like a necessity rather than if I want that or not.
What I've heard, and I think I'd like to get an attorney on to consult on this, but a divorce attorney, prenuptial agreements can get thrown out. So even if you do have a prenuptial agreement, I mean, I think Dr. Dre had a prenuptial agreement with his wife, and they were still able to like pierce through it. So I don't know the total details of that, but they can definitely be thrown out. They're not bulletproof. And I just think marriage is an L in today's day and age. I mean, there's obviously the tradition component if you're religious, but when it comes to the government involvement and the potential financial ramifications of having to unwind a marriage, it does not make sense. So don't get married, guys. Don't do it. You do, but you could have a life partner, for example, but you just don't need the government involved.
Exactly
in that.
right. Yeah.
Okay.
And fully want the whole white picket fence. We are husband and wife, but I just don't feel the need to go and sign some paper that lets them know that we are.
Yep. Also, by the way, guys, there's something called common law marriage. So Nick, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
$99.99.
Of course, man. Thank you.
Thank you for the response.
Well, hey, thank you for the big super chat, man. Appreciate it. If you want to do it through Streamlabs, I'll even be more appreciative. But thank you very much. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you, Nick. In certain states, there's something called common law marriage. And if you've been cohabitating with someone for a certain period of time, there might be, I think, some other components to it, but basically the government will view you as essentially married, and you would still be on the hook for alimony. And
so you don't want to be on the hook?
I don't want to be on the hook.
Yeah, as a man.
Well, I'm talking about common law marriage, but
yeah, but you as a man will be on a hook if you will be married for
well,
that
I
amount
don't.
of time.
California is not a common law marriage
It
state,
is,
but
no?
no, it's not common law marriage.
Okay.
It's I don't know which ones are, but you may want to Google that, gentlemen, if you are. But
I
What
believe
do
it's
you lose by getting like married?
what do you lose?
Yeah, what do you lose?
Everything. No, not everything.
Why?
I
but-
hear
For
that so much
example?
these days. Everyone I talk to that's married, even people that, even just like adults that I meet in my life, they're like, oh, by the way, don't get married. You're young now. Like, I'm gonna tell you this, blah blah blah. I'm like, what do you lose?
money.
Okay.
That's the only
Alimony.
concern.
There's certainly, especially, look, if you're in a 50-50 relationship, even then there can be, there can be a contentious divorce, and then you're spending, even if the money isn't going to your partner, there's a dispute, and legal disputes are incredibly expensive. So there's that concern. Obviously, you have to pay the lawyer to, go through the divorce. There's a time period. What do you lose? I mean, you lose the house, you lose half your shit. It depends. Look, alimony is kind of calculated based on how long you've been with the person. So it's not like you've been married for 9 months and you're going to be totally financially wrecked, but like it's still going to be an L at the end of the day.
So it's just about money.
Yeah, and not having the government involved in your life, because then you're in the court system. In the court system, there's a anti-male bias in the court system.
$100.
Thank you, Martin.
Brian, I'm an
Oh.
attorney, although not a divorce lawyer.
Oh.
It is a fact that prenups are more for asset and resource allocation, not precluding one party from their fair share. It's not like the movies at all.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some different things on the prenup thing. My understanding is the prenup can address assets prior to the start of the marriage. But I don't think it can address, maybe I'm wrong on this too. If you guys made something together, or you came into wealth after the marriage, I don't know if prenups can address that. But if you're coming into it already wealthy, perhaps I don't know if you know anything more on this.
No,
or-
I've never even considered, not getting married as a form of, or marriage as a form of loss. I just view it as an unnecessary step in my life structure. So I'm not really focused on alimony or prenups or anything
Sure.
like that.
All right. Yo, Martin, by the way, shoot me a DM on Instagram. And can you please confirm what kind of attorney you are? I want to guess you're a maritime law attorney, perhaps an aviation attorney. I think you might be a tree attorney. Do you guys know about tree law? That shit's crazy. Motherfuckers, not you guys, just motherfuckers think that trees aren't expensive. But you hear these disputes with neighbors. The neighbor cuts down a tree, and you got to replace the tree. That's like $100,000.
It's a lot of money.
So I think
Just
Martin,
like marriage, a lot of money.
Martin is a tree lawyer, an arbor lawyer or something. Okay. So did anyone else have any further thoughts on this whole marriage thing?
I think I have a different perspective because I don't think we should live together before getting married. So that's why for me it's like it's a switch.
You don't want to live with. Honestly, I think
Yeah.
even if you are married, like separate houses.
Yeah, preferably like a mansion, maybe a castle.
Yeah, just like I'll see you once a week.
I mean, if you can afford a castle, I don't mind.
Why would you want to get married if you're only going to see them once a week? There's no point.
Well, I mean, he doesn't really want to get married.
he doesn't
so
want
that's
the
the thing.
marriage.
But like, for
Just
some,
go over there. I'll be over here.
I find it kind of odd though to be married but then live separately. That's a very strange.
Okay, fine. You
Perspective.
convinced me. Separate bedrooms. How about that?
Which I've
Separate
heard that.
bedrooms is healthy.
My grandparents did that because my grandma snored too loud, so my grandpa had to sleep in the other bedroom, and so I've heard that. And there's times where I'm like, babe, I love you, but like I really want the whole bed to myself. So I get that. But yeah, the whole separate house thing, that's weird. That doesn't make any sense. to me,
Honestly,
but,
separate. I need at least 3 counties between.
my goodness.
How about
Between-
another country?
That'd be good. All right, she's in the Philippines. I'm over here. Whatever it is. Okay, so just a couple quick stats on the marriage thing. 50% of marriages end in divorce. 80% of divorces are initiated by women. 90% if she's college educated. 90% of child support payments go from men to women. 97% of alimony payments go from men to women. So I think marriage is a pretty big L for men, and they get absolutely crushed in the court system. And yeah, guys, don't get married. Okay, so